Speak the charm of make, charm of make, charm of make, charm of make, charm of make.
There will come a time on the planet Earth when science and technology will be long forgotten. When wizards will rule the world.
This is the Arnemancy Podcast, exploring esotericism, tarot, magic, and the occult. I am Reverend Erik. Hello, podcast listeners. Today we have on artist, writer, and publisher Erik Millar, the creator of The Disruption Generator from Outlet Press. This is an interesting sort of book format oracle deck, but it's not really a deck because it's a book, but it could be a deck because, as you know, Alex Boland made a deck out of it, but it's a collection of images. Let's wait for the interview, and we'll let Erik Millar, who is not me, Erik, but another Erik, we'll let him fill you in on all the details on that. Before we get into that, though, I have a couple of announcements to make. First, I have scheduled, and I'm a little nervous about this, I have scheduled my first live podcast recording. It's going to be on Friday, September 13th. It will be at Rose City Book Pub, which is a location in Portland that is both a used bookstore and a pub. I know, it sounds perfect, and wait until you see it. It actually is. And it'll be at 7 p.m. on Friday, September 13th. And this is in 2019, just in case you're listening to this way in the future. I'm sorry you didn't make it. I hope that this live performance, this live podcast recording goes really well so that I have more, so that you do make it to the next one. So what is a live podcast recording? Well, that's when me and my very special guest sit down in front of a live audience and we record the podcast. It's not going to be broadcast live, it's just going to be recorded live, sort of like how TV shows used to brag about being recorded in front of a live studio audience. That's what we'll be doing. You will be our studio audience. The event's going to be free. There is a link in the show notes to a sign-up form where you can sign up for emails to get future information about the event as we sort of flesh out the details. We're still early in the planning stages. I've got the venue. We've got the guest. We've got to sort of figure out the rest of it. I just want to make sure that you guys stay in the loop and that you have it on your calendar. I just want everybody to know that it's totally on purpose that this is happening the day before Rune Soup's As Above event. I figure if I'm going to do a live podcast recording, I have to do it when my audience is in town. My audience is made up of occultists from across the country and maybe the world. I don't know. I think I've got like 2 listeners outside of the United States. And you guys are important to me. And if I can see all of you when you're in town for this other event, I think that's great. So Friday, September 13th. I really look forward to seeing all of you there. I predict that it's going to be a delightful combination of entertainment and disaster. All right, next, over on Patreon, I have revamped the benefit tiers and my goals. So the big changes are, at the $5 tier, if you sign up for $5 a month, you can help select upcoming blog posts and podcast subjects and maybe podcast guests, depending on how that goes. So basically, every month I will bring a selection of potential blog post topics to the $5 Patreon supporters, and they'll get to vote to see which ones I write about. Next, $30 tier is a tarot reading subscription, which will give you one 30-minute reading every month. And then there's also a $50 tier, which is a tarot reading subscription for one 60-minute reading every month. There's a link to my Patreon page in the show notes of every episode, so you can easily go find that. Please check that out. And here's the one that I think everybody's should be on board with or excited about. When my total Patreon patronage reaches $200 a month, I will pay a guest writer for a guest post on the blog once a month. I know I'm not going to be able to afford to pay them a whole lot, but it's better than $0. I really want to do this because I think it helps support the community, it helps to pay content creators, and it's a good encouragement for new writers in the occult community, and we need those all the time. We need more new writers all the time. All right, you guys, you've listened to me ramble on long enough, and I know that you're really here to listen to Erik Millar talk about the Disruption Generator, so let's get to it. I'm gonna try to do an introduction now without saying first.
All right.
Welcome back to the Arnemancy Podcast. I am here today with Erik Millar, who is an author and an artist, and the creation of the disruption generator, the portable disruption generator. The full-sized one is like hidden in his secret lab. Yeah. Hi, Erik.
Hello.
It's good to meet you. I feel like we should probably start this episode with a disclaimer, just so that everybody knows that there really is no Erik conspiracy. That's always been a myth. There's
there's a lot of Eriks though.
There are a lot of Eriks, but there's no conspiracy.
What is this Erik conspiracy? I'm not sure I know this conspiracy.
Me neither. I've never heard of it before. Why do you bring it up? We are at a cafe in Southeast Portland called Beer and Coffee, or Beer Plus Coffee, or maybe Coffee Plus Beer.
I think it was just beer coffee.
I don't know. Over there it says coffee beer.
Coffee beer. Oh my god.
Well, anyhow, whatever
So
it is, it's a cool little place, right? Like they serve coffee and they serve beer and they keep it pretty simple.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about your disruption generator and other stuff. Let's start with your weird origin story. What bit you?
What bit me?
Yeah, like Did a radioactive generator bite you?
Nah, maybe a radioactive pen.
Yeah.
Stabbed me in the leg one day.
So you've been doing like art like crazy.
Oh yeah. I published my first book 6 years ago. I keep saying 4, but it's 6.
Delicious.
Wonderful.
But I think it was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I published my first book, and I'm 24 books in now.
So do you sleep?
A little. Especially now that I got a 2-year-old, I sleep even less. So.
All right, and this is all through Outlet Press.
Yes.
It's basically you.
It is completely me.
You're making the art. You're writing the storylines.
Yep.
But a lot of your stuff's sort of graphic novel.
Yeah. Most of it's kind of like graphic novels. Some of it's like storybooks. Some of it's just art books. I've got a couple that are just text.
Yeah. So you're writing the books. You're designing the books. You're editing the books, and you're publishing the books.
Yep.
And they actually look good.
And I am self-taught.
And you're self-taught. I feel like this is like a unique thing in the world.
I would think so. I would think so.
My biggest pet peeve, I think self-publishing is incredible, and I think that the power that it gives to independent creators is super amazing. But I also think that that with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of self-published stuff
It's
does not
shitty
look
design.
good.
Oh man, people who don't get editors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, like, I don't usually have an editor, but I also go over my stuff with a fine-tooth comb like a million times before I put it out.
But the ability to do that is like 1 in a million, and nobody should assume that they know how to do that.
Yeah.
I will vouch for you right now and say that the stuff of yours that I've read, the editing errors are about the same number of editing errors as you find in a book that's got an independent editor. But I've never seen that before, or very rarely have I seen that before in somebody who's self-published. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I would like to toast to you. Cheers. Good job.
Thank you.
So how did you sort of figure out how to do everything? Like what?
A lot of trial and error.
Did you fuck up a lot at first?
Oh, God, yes. My first 2 books aren't even under my name. and I put them out of print like 5-6 years ago. They're not even under my name. And you cannot find them anywhere. Which is good because they were terrible.
Stephen J. King.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can imagine.
I can reveal it here. My name was Emil R.
Emil R.
Emil R.
I'm gonna look that guy up. So all right. So I read a little bit of your graphic novel stuff. Like you sent me some of your things. Like the coyote one was probably the most striking and the most sort of like.
Yeah, everybody's falling in love with that one. That one's getting a second life right now.
Is it in print?
Oh yes. Yes.
I'm putting a link to that in the show notes.
All right.
And I'm just going to tell people what I remember about it because I read it a couple weeks ago. But it's basically like what happens to Wile E. Coyote after he falls off a cliff. Or after he blows himself up.
Yep.
And it's fascinating. Like it's totally like it's weird chaos magic shit. It's
I call it my Looney Tunes Book of the Dead.
It is a Looney Tunes Book of the Dead. It's a Looney Tunes Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away. I feel like it's one of those things that people need to read and be really shocked by the first time they go through it. But
yeah, like I said, that thing is getting a real second life right now because I published that like 4 years ago.
Really?
And I haven't sold a copy in probably 3 years.
Well, it's tough to. Yeah, how do you publicize your stuff?
I have Instagram.
That's it,
dude. I just recently started actually being a little bit more public about everything.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're doing podcasts now.
Yeah,
that's pretty
too.
cool. Yeah. So you've already been on Pragmagic and the Alex Cast.
Yep.
Which are the other two legs of the Portland Weird Podcast triangle.
Well, I had to get the triangle.
Yeah. So this is finishing it off. I feel like I'm always sort of the last stop. That's cool.
But you were the first one I scheduled.
Yeah, but now that I'm all like trying to be organized and shit, you can schedule stuff a long ways out.
It's true.
Okay, so I really want to get into this. Tell me, so the disruption generator.
Yeah.
What's your elevator pitch for it? Do you have an elevator pitch?
It is a fully randomized bibliomantic oracle.
Okay, so it's basically like. I'm gonna try to walk through this as somebody like, let's say I'm an artist and I'm like, I'm gonna make a tarot deck. So you got to make a tarot deck and you already have a framework ahead of you. You've got the suits, you've got the face cards, you've got the aces, you got the major arcana. Like everything is sort of laid out. And you have a set that you know what to do. Right. So then you can go beyond that and be like, I want to make an oracle deck. So you go out and you find like a theme. I'm gonna make the
Hello Kitty tarot,
the Hello Kitty oracle, or the I don't know, the traffic sign oracle or something of that nature. And so you go out and you still have a theme and maybe you'll be able to plan it out ahead of time, but you kind of have like a, various individual bits of you need to have a complete message that you want to do.
Yeah.
But you have 120 images in here and they were all generated randomly?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how that happened.
Keats Ross was starting to try to get people into We the Hollowed, and I really didn't have any ideas. And I was like, well, what if I just did like a random word generator thing? So I just do a drawing a day, and I just went from there. Basically, I drew a frame one day at work, and it took me about 5 minutes to think of it.
So what random word generator did you use?
It was the first one on Google.
So you totally just went to the first random word generator on Google and started randomly generating. Did you do them all at once?
No. I did them one at a time.
Did you ever get duplicates?
Every once in a while. It was a very small dictionary.
So you would go... well, that's fascinating because that means that your random selection of words, like we have no idea how the randomness worked or where it came from. It's just sort of like...
It's fully random. And the weirdest thing is it actually works. It shouldn't. Like on the face of it, it should not work.
Well, why shouldn't it? Like, let's look at how divination works, first of all. How do you think divination works?
I suppose that is pretty random. It's just kind of...
Is it random? I mean, one wonders if there's randomness to the universe.
Yeah, true.
And so, like, is this a metaphor for the randomness in the universe? Like, you basically had this idea, you went and tried to randomize stuff as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like, you're layering I'm having one of those moments where I'm sort of like, this is going to be meta.
Yeah, it's a pretty meta idea. Well, I mean, like, the real origin of it was, like, basically, like, I was a big fan of William S. Burroughs and a big fan of, like...
Or, like, the cut-up technique.
Yeah, cut-up technique, and I really got into Dadaists for a while, and surrealist poetry, which is just basically, like, randomized words. They would throw words in a bowl, and that would be their poetry. And I just applied it to an oracle.
Okay,
and then I took it out of the cards and made it into a book.
I'm gonna describe what this kind of looks like. I just opened up to the agenda page, which means that it's the word agenda, not that there's like a page at the beginning. It's like, here's the agenda of the book. So you've got a frame. First of all, you have the word in big type at the bottom. You have sort of a frame around a fairly simple piece of art. Like, did you do these one a day?
Yeah, sometimes 2.
Yeah? And around the edge, it kind of looks like a cellular... It sort of makes me think of, like, a side view of, like, a layer of skin at the cellular level, where you've got, like, globs of stuff sort of gooping around. And in the middle of the artwork. And the agenda picture in particular is, like, this sinister figure who's slowly pulling off this smiley face mask. And, you know, I've been in a lot of meetings. I've seen a lot of agendas in my life.
Yeah, that's usually what an agenda is.
That's accurate. So how do you use it? What's the technique?
The basic technique is you just shuffle through the pages. And whatever you land on is your component.
Binding. I just pulled binding.
Yeah, binding.
Held together, an unavoidable obligation. Oh yeah, like this particular podcast meeting.
Exactly.
There's no way to get out of this. Once you agreed.
Yeah, I was bound to it.
This is amazing. But you also brought dice, right? So you have like method that you think we can use with dice?
Yes, because everything has a number.
Right.
Because I actually, in the beginning, it has a table with numeric values for every card.
Okay.
Or component. I'm trying to get out of the habit of calling them cards because they're not cards. They're pages, in a book.
Are you also going to publish a deck?
Not planning on it.
Okay, I'm trying because Alex made a deck.
He did. And it is a great deck.
Yeah.
But, like, I always imagined this as a book.
Really?
Because they're... Do you know of any bibliomantic oracles? Like, any book-based oracles anywhere?
Well, there's the Bible code.
Well, yeah, but that's not intended to be.
That's true. This could be something you could just carry around. Oh, I just got cheerful. I feel cheerful. Yeah. Although, that picture... Are you doing okay?
I'm not really good at drawing happy. Something can be very happy and I just make it look menacing.
Would you call it a mechanism that can both keep you upright and hold you back?
Yeah.
That's crutch number 30. Okay, so how would we use the dice?
So we have a 12-sided dice and a 10-sided dice. Since there's 120, you can take the 12-sided dice and do the first 2 digits. So it would be like...
subtract 1, though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, let's do it. What do you got?
So.
Well, that's going to go for a while.
Yeah. 4.
So 3, 30-something. 37. Branch. It's 27. 37. Oh, you're doing fine. You've got tons of...
I'm just trying not to hit anything.
Oh, yeah. All right. Component 37. Branch. A path with many destinations and offshoots. The splitting of focus into many ideas. Reaching out in new directions. This, I feel... What minute are we at? 16? That's about where all of my podcast episodes go.
Like I said, it works for something that is so completely random. And, like, I honestly... I wish I could say I put a ton of thought in the design of it. But when I started... It became something much bigger as I went on. Like, it kind of, like, revealed itself to me.
So, I'm just going to read some of the titles here. Like, some of the components. We've, blindfold... I mean, they're so disconnected. 63 is ox.
Yes.
What? Like, how is that...
Well, there's also blueberry.
There's also astronaut, which I feel like is pretty...
That's one of my favorite ones. I'm just
going to turn to that one and see... Astronaut. Nice art.
Thank you.
Explorer of the unknown, traveler through space, lacking the tether of gravity. And where did you get the descriptions?
I wrote those.
Oh, really? That's cool. I was thinking you just sort of pulled them right out of the...
Some are mostly pulled out of the dictionary, but I kind of had to massage a lot of the words into being something that was oracular.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because ox, like I was just making fun of, you have the beast that pulls the plow, labor and endurance. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you kind of have... At first I wanted to sort of think that it was going to be compared to the strength card in traditional tarot, but the ox is nothing like the strength card. It's totally only the strong part of it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So then... You should get another beer, huh?
No, I gotta drive.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, I should get coffee.
Okay, so what if we had a more complicated question? Like,
the original design that I had for it was as a diary, as a framework, as a diary to read for yourself.
Okay.
Like, originally, I didn't really think of it as something you would read for other people.
Uh-huh.
So the design was going to be that you do it'd basically be like the basic 3-card draw of a tarot deck.
Yeah.
Where you'd pick 3 components.
Uh-huh.
And you just do like a 3-card structure. Like, past, present, future, like all those various things.
Okay.
And you just pick 3, just like a tarot deck.
So let's try that. I'm gonna try it. Why don't you? I'm gonna roll the dice.
All right.
Let's just do a reading. This podcast, this new podcast that I'm doing, is sort of in its infancy, and I wanted to sort of figure out like, where's it gonna go? What sort of changes should I make? How much creative wobbliness should I allow into my planning and stuff? So let's find out.
All right.
3 rolls.
Yeah. You want to do past, present, future?
Yeah, let's do past sort of relating to the old podcast, present relating to where I am now, and future based on where the future is going.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So that would be 17.
17. Let's see. 17 is healing.
Healing. That's the
Healing.
past card. That's the past component. Oh, I saw that one when I was flipping through it earlier. It's like a wound that's gashed open and stitching.
Yep. It's to mend, to stitch or restitch, the process of betterment.
Okay, healing. Process of betterment.
So maybe, this is the form of healing of your previous podcast. Maybe this is...
All right.
But, I mean, it wasn't broken. So,
it wasn't broken. Yeah, I mean, my main feeling in this change was that I wanted to have a level of creative control that would allow me to kind of like branch out without feeling like I was stepping on anybody's toes.
Right. Well, yeah, you had partners on your old show.
Yeah.
So
they were just never there.
In a way, maybe it's like those parts were severed from you, and you're healing to be one.
Oh, that's very wise. You must be a parent.
I am.
Okay. Present. 107. Why are we getting so many 7s? Does this only roll 7s?
Maybe. I really should put the numbers on the actual... Oh, I did, actually.
Yeah, they're in there.
I made the book and I didn't even notice I put them there. Cunning.
Oh, shit.
Sly, deceitful, a willingness to use subterfuge and trickery to manipulate others towards a goal. Oh, you're trying to trick people with this thing, huh?
Well, I mean, honestly, that's kind of a description of marketing, isn't it?
True. Very true.
And there's no way to get internet traffic without marketing of some sort.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a rebrand based on unifying your names.
It is. There's totally a ton of cunning in there.
Well, look at that.
Okay. All right. And now the future. Come on, give me something good. Big money.
So
86.
This
one's going to suck. It's going to be like maggots.
Well, there's actually...
bacteria.
There's no really bad cards except for Crater.
Crater, uh-oh.
The remnants of Cataclysm and Impact. Scarred Earth.
That's my future?
Oh, no. Maybe the Crater is the previous podcast, is the Scarred Earth. And you're going to be moving forward.
You're just trying to make me feel better now.
Yeah, I am.
But let's say, like, Crater is Scarred Earth. Like, what... I mean, that's a pretty brutal card.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, I mean, I guess that's something to avoid.
Yeah, but I mean, in a weird way, like, having the new show based off of the old show is the remnants of a Cataclysm.
I guess that's true. I mean, it is sort of a rebirth sort of thing, right? So I guess that could be it. Yeah. Although, man, that's a dark reading. That's a very dark reading.
It is. That is actually the darkest reading I've had anybody have.
I guess this is probably the right time to announce that this podcast is going full goth. All right. Well, let's do another one. Let me. You ask a question. I'll.
Oh, let's see. I really don't know what to ask. I think I'm too close to it.
Well, distance yourself a little bit. Ask for somebody else.
Okay.
How about the future of this business?
Okay, the future of coffee beer.
Okay.
So...
11.99.
Oh, 119.
Oof. It's way near the end.
No,
That's when you started to run out.
Yeah. That's actually not a good one, too. I know exactly which one that is.
Wasp. A dangerous pollinator. Aggressive when threatened or desperate. Can either be social or independent, but never both.
I don't know how that would apply to a coffee beer shop.
Well, actually, so this is the past one, right?
Yeah.
So this place is very new. It's sort of been injected into this neighborhood.
Ooh.
So this idea of either be social or independent, but never both. Like, think of the fact that it's coffee and beer.
Yeah.
Like coffee, people go to coffee shops to study
Yeah.
and be independent, but people go to drink beer to be social.
Wow.
So is it a warning? Is it a warning saying, like...
You can't be both.
But this is the past card, right?
Yeah. What was this before?
I don't know, just some...
Maybe it was a private building announced.
It might have been a private building. Who knows what it was before?
Yeah.
All I know is that everything around here is changing all the time, so it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
But maybe it's sort of saying, like, that's the assumption that people had before this. Maybe the wasp is...
Or the building is a pollinator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are wasps pollinators?
Yeah, as far as I know.
All right, that's cool. I mean, you read the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that one from Wikipedia.
Present. 30-10.
38.
38. 30-10. That's a 10-sider.
30-10.
Well, it'd be 40. Yeah. Whisper. To speak quietly. An unassuming presence. Voices barely heard.
It's a new business.
It's a new business, and you know what? Nobody knows about it, except for people who, like, live in the neighborhood. So,
wow.
That makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. 5. Number 5.
Wow,
One of the first ones you did.
Yeah, we got the two extremes in this one.
Harm.
Oh, God.
Injure. Gouge. To cut or damage. Changing the situation by force.
So they're changing the neighborhood by force.
Is that a gentrification reading?
It could be. It could be.
I mean, I'm excited to have something like this in the neighborhood, but at the same time, it definitely changes the way the neighborhood works. It's going to, it could potentially increase the traffic along 42nd Avenue.
Exactly.
It could increase the property value of places around it. Mm-hmm. It could raise the rent on businesses here. I guess that could be a level of harm.
That could be a level of harm.
From whisper to harm.
Wow.
So, that's kind of intense.
That is very intense.
Your disruption generator is generating disruption.
Yeah, it fits the title. It fits the title.
So, after going through so how long did this take you?
I've been working on it for 6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
You got all of this done in 6 months?
I actually got it all done in 4 months. But the last 2 months have been kind of getting it ready to, finishing it up.
I just want you to remember that this is a fact podcast and not a fiction podcast.
I work really fast.
Yeah.
I work really, really, really fast.
Damn, that's really impressive. And how did you feel when you were doing it? Did you run into any weird experiences while you were going through this?
There's been a lot of synchronicities. The daily releases I was doing, because I serialized it on the Wheeler Hollow webpage.
Yeah.
Every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
Tweeted every day.
Yeah. And I got, even just from Keats, who runs Wheeler Hollow, every few days he'd be like, that hit my day right on the head.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a guy in Australia named Christian who was like,
Do you need anything?
I think we're doing good.
We're good. Thanks.
You.
The guy in Australia, he started messaging me and told me that it was spot on for him. He was using it as a meditation technique for the day and stuff. But there were definitely times where a lot of synchronicity kind of came together.
Weird. And when you finished, what did that feel like?
Felt weird.
Yeah?
This has been an unusual project for me.
Yeah?
I don't usually have this much Attention.
Have you ever studied any sort of like chaos magic stuff or anything like that?
I have.
So would you sort of put this in the realm of some sort of like hyper sigil or some sort of
yeah. Oh yeah. I've done a couple of those now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some other examples of hyper? Well, you don't have to. You can abstract it a little bit. You don't have to give us the intimate details.
Well, my last book was basically like a hyper sigil. Also,
Yeah.
that one was called Poison Trail. It was a graphic novel about ants.
This is amazing. Did you send that one to me?
I might have. I can send it to you though.
Well, I mean,
should have brought a copy with me. I have a ton of copies.
Oh no! I mean, it's cool. You might have sent it to me.
Yeah, but it's 180 pages.
Wow!
Like
for a graphic novel?
Well, it's one panel per page.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That one only took me 5 months.
That's also a little ridiculous. How do you get your output so fast? Do you have like a really nice home studio?
No, I work in sketchbooks.
Well, because these look almost like ballpoint pen drawings. Sometimes.
They are.
They're ballpoint pen?
They are.
Can you just draw something at will, on a whim?
That's what those are. I didn't have any underpenciling or anything. Those are all drawn directly onto the paper with a pen.
What if I asked you to draw something right now?
It'd make for a really boring podcast.
I can cut that part out. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of saw that in Coyote also, where you had this. I mean, you do such there's such this evocative feeling to the way that you use like the darkness and the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have like the blackest blacks and like these stark whites and these just sort of like spidery lines that sort of blend them together. You know that you're cross hatching. Like the cross hatching isn't a big thing unless it's to be like really, really dark.
Oh yeah.
So you've got these really huge contrasts, and then huge amounts of negative space sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes negative space is like the main character of a page in a pretty intense way. Did you go to art school at all or anything like that?
I did not.
I just learned it all on your own.
Everything's self-taught.
Who have you had any like artistic influences that have helped you a lot?
Oh yeah, I'd say a lot of like the hatching and stuff came from 1960s underground comics.
Really?
Yeah, I was really into Robert Crumb when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
Until I saw how problematic he was.
He was problematic.
And then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have that on the shelf with a 2-year-old in the house. And then a French artist named Mobius.
I know Mobius.
Yeah.
But Mobius is...
His stuff it goes all over the place.
It does, but a lot of his more famous stuff is very... I mean, it's kind of... I guess I kind of want to describe it as mellow. It's so pastel-y, and everything is blended together, and things have such sort of a smooth, easy appearance.
Yeah. His 60s and 70s stuff?
Yeah.
Not that way at all.
I don't think I've seen any of that. I would love to see some of that.
Oh, yeah. His old stuff for heavy metal, a lot of it came off as very menacing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, he seems like he was in a very dark place in the 70s. He might have been the only person in a dark place in the 70s.
I don't think that's true. I think
or 60s.
There was a lot of darkness
It's
back
true,
then.
it's true. France might not have been a friendly place back then.
No, I mean, they had I mean, nobody was friendly in the 60s.
Yeah, I suppose so.
There were people who were high.
Yeah. And that's actually a small cross-section I've read.
So then, so you came across this stuff when you were, what, like...
A teenager.
A teenager, and then you just started drawing that way?
Yeah. Originally, it was just, like, Marvel Comics. Like, I wanted to... Yeah. Like, my goal when I was a kid was to become a comic book artist.
I had that goal for a little while, too. I've never been... art has never been easy enough for me. Like, I lose patience really quickly. But your stuff is really quickly done.
Mm-hmm. That's because I lose patience really quickly, too.
But you also have the skill to still pull it off.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it since I was, like, 8.
Right.
So...
Yeah. That's really cool. Like, I think at some point in my artistic days, I was like, I just want to do stuff really fast.
Yeah.
And then I just was bad at it.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of lied about your cross-hatching. You actually do a really good job with cross-hatching. I'm just flipping through here now. I guess what I'm remembering is that image in Coyote of, like, the eyes.
Mm.
And that was...
The reflecting pool eyes, or just how his eyes are just big round goggles the entire time?
His eyes are just big round goggles the entire time, and it's just sort of it's very striking. Okay, so then let's talk about the chaos magic stuff. So you said you've done other hyper sigils before.
Yep.
So how did you get into chaos magic?
I came into it, I mean, I guess I would call it late, but I'm not sure if other people would. I think I was about 25, 26 when I started to explore.
What did you find?
My first book was the Disinformation Book of Lies.
Oh.
That was my first book.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit earlier I had a friend that had the Satanic Bible by LaVey, and that was my first, like, occult thing, and I was like...
Oh, wow.
But, like, as like, 14, you're like, ooh, Satanic Bible.
Right.
Edgy.
So when you discovered the disinfo stuff, like, did you ever watch the TV show or see, like, Grant Morrison's...
I didn't get to see that until much later.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, once I hit the disinfo book, I kind of just, like, went fully in.
And you just did your own thing.
Did my own thing. Like, being in Bemidji, Minnesota, you don't really run into a whole lot of occultists.
Yeah, I know that
So,
feeling.
like, basically it's become, like, I don't really, like, attach myself to anything. So I'm just kind of my own thing.
You had to kind of forge your own path.
I did. I had no teachers.
Yeah.
Had no, had no group.
I mean, honestly, whatever you did worked.
Yeah.
I mean, this is hopefully it didn't totally work, because I don't want to run into a crater here. I don't want to, like, turn into a crater or anything like that.
Well, I mean, you never know. Exciting. It could be positive, too, in some
That's
way.
True. I mean, I can see how, and a lot of the time, especially in tarot, like, when you come across cards like that, they can indicate some sort of change, which indicates eliminating part of your life or eliminating something that's, like, holding you back. I mean, just the other week, I pulled the Ten of Swords for myself, which is one of the shittiest cards of the deck, and I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. And it didn't really suck. It was just sort of like, part of it. Sometimes you have to sacrifice ideas. Sometimes you have to get rid of things.
Yeah.
And maybe the creator's about that. Maybe there's something big I have to get rid of.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, I know in a very real sense there is something that I absolutely have to get rid of out of my house, which is a giant orange recliner. Which has a really fascinating story, which I'm going to tell right now because it's my podcast and I can do this.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got this friend named Clay. I've known him since I was in junior high. Like, we're old friends. And he's a super weird musician guy, an amazing man. And he, like, introduced me to so much incredible music back then, and we lost touch for a long time, and every time we reconnected, like, neither of us have had lives that have been, like, idyllic or, going along in the sort of, like, American dream style stuff. Right. It's always just sort of been, like, we're building a castle on a pile of train wrecks.
Right.
Yeah. So, after I moved to Portland, when I first moved here... Howdy. When I first moved to Portland, I didn't have any furniture. So, he gave me this big orange recliner that he'd had since college. And this was probably 2011. So that recliner at the time was old because we both were in college in the 90s. Yeah. So it's a hideous thing. I don't know if it's like an old Lazy Boy or whatever, but it has that sort of like ridged... the kind of the ripple? Yeah, that ripple sort of stuff where you can rub it the wrong way and it's sort of like you can tell. But it's so old that it's all rubbed bare in weird places. Like velour. Yeah. It's like an orange velour. Velour corduroy or something like that. And it is just the most hideous thing because it's that 70s orange. Yeah. Like somebody had it for decades before Clay had it. Right. So it's been in my apartment for a long time and he gave it to me. He's like, a lot of shitty stuff has happened to this. We called it the captain's chair. You don't want to know the stories. I'm like, all right. But even in my apartment, it's had stories that I'm not ever going to share. Like, bad things have happened to that chair. It's a shitty chair. And it started falling apart. Like, now every time I move it, things fall off of it. Yeah. It's time for it to go then. How do you get rid of a chair? How do you get rid of a chair that you... Like, I don't want to leave it on the curb. Right. Can't throw it in the dumpster because I think that's illegal. It is. So what do I do? What do I do with this chair? It needs to be a crater. Do you have a yard? No. I'm in an apartment. Because I was going to say, you could just light it on fire in your yard. Oh, I could light it on... I mean, I could light it on fire anywhere. But what about global warming?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Just remove the foam first.
Yeah.
And put that in your dumpster, because you can throw away foam.
Oh, I could reduce it to its component parts. I could crater it.
You could crater it. You could straight up crater that thing.
And then just throw away individual pieces just a little bit over time.
That's what my wife and I had to do with our last bed. We had a box spring. We ripped the cloth off of it, tore it apart, and then we threw it away piece
by piece, like over a series of weeks.
Yeah, and it worked.
The systemic destruction of a friggin' chair.
Yeah. And it's weird how it's illegal to throw away a full chair.
But you can throw away the parts. I mean, they all end up at the same spot.
They do. They're going to probably end up in a pile really close to each other.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's going to be, like, layers of banana peels and eggshells.
Yeah, and if it's an evil chair, it's just going to reassemble once it gets there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't think the chair is evil. I think the chair is worn out. The chair is a comfortable one, right? Like, you sit in it and you're sort of like, oh, this chair is taking care of me. Why does it smell like that?
Yeah. What is that smell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, that's not really related to the podcast, but it's still definitely a thing in my life that needs to be a crater.
Right.
Yeah. This is now my chair podcast. I'm going to only talk about my chair.
It's called Lazy Boys.
Lazy Boys. .com, do you think that's taken?
Maybe not with a Z. Lazy Boys.
Oh, yeah. What about Lazy Boys to Men?
Ooh.
Okay, so back to the disruption generator. I'm sorry, I took us on a weird tangent about my chair. What's next?
What's next is a comic book with Alex Bolin.
I am very excited about that.
Yes.
Alex is such an incredible writer.
He is.
He does not get enough credit, and he does not get enough traffic out of his
he does not, and that was like one of the biggest reasons I took on like designing his newest book.
Did you read Periphery?
I did. I loved it.
Periphery is incredible. I edited his short story collection that's coming out any day now.
And I designed it. I designed it.
That was so hard to edit. Because every time I was like, all right, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to start editing, I just knew that it was going to make me cry.
Oh, yeah, especially Book of Lists.
Oh, shit.
That is a heartbreaking story. I texted him, I was like, man, you made me have the feels on that last one.
I think almost every one of his short stories in that collection... either it made me choke up a little bit. I got a little misty-eyed.
Yeah.
And it was, but it's incredible. Like his ability to invoke emotion.
Yeah.
Is amazing. And, I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a really good one. So you're doing a comic book with him?
Yes.
That's so cool. I want to do a comic book.
Give me an outline.
Okay.
We'll see what we can do. I work fast.
No shit. That would be fun. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
You could just do comic books for occultists.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that actually.
Yeah.
There's not nearly enough just like full-blown occult comic books out there.
And the ones that are also like they're it's like Alan Moore and Grant Morrison.
Yeah, that's it.
Like whining at each other.
Yeah. At this point, it's whining,
Yeah.
Alan Moore had a couple really solid ones, though.
So did Grant Morrison.
Yeah, The Invisibles is a really solid lead.
So The Filth was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
But not as good.
Yeah.
You hear people...
Well, it's like a good coda to The Invisibles.
I really don't agree with that take on it. I feel like The Filth makes its own sort of self-contained universe.
Yeah.
Maybe in a little bit.
It's
sort of... There's an intersection with The Invisibles, but it's not an awesome one. But The Invisibles is a great piece of work.
It is.
But then you realize that there's a part of The Invisibles that's kind of a reaction to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, oh, why? Why? Like, what the hell is that about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's... For years, Grant Morrison and Alan Moore have been kind of sniping at each other from the sides.
But then it turns out, like, apparently there have been some interviews where they've been like, oh, no, we've been friends the whole time. So they were just doing it for sales?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Or, like, the last thing I read said that they didn't actually, like...
generator thing for this.
See if it's real. So
52.
If it's conversation, I'm just gonna
eliminate, to strike out, removal, destruction.
So they're trying to destroy each other.
That could be.
They're having a wizard war.
Yeah. All right, I guess you heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, I know the last interview I read, they both basically said, yeah, more than anything, I just don't care.
Yeah.
There's not really a rivalry. It's like the comic press. It's like making it sound like a rivalry.
Yeah. So then we do need good magic comics.
We do.
We need magicians and occultists to...
We really do.
To get out there and make good comics.
I mean, I would not mind filling that niche.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you and Alex come up with. I trust Alex's writing a lot, and your art and the graphic novels that I've seen have been really amazing. Yeah. So seeing how the two of you work together, I think is going to be an awesome litmus test.
Oh yeah.
So that's really exciting. Do you have a timeline on it?
Not really. I've just started really getting to work on it because this has taken up, the Disruption Generator has taken up a lot of time.
This is a beautiful little book too. So this is independently published.
Yep. You can get it through Amazon.
You can publish through Amazon?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, anyhow, it's gorgeous and it's pink, which is cool. But yeah, it looks really nice. I'm going to carry this with me. I'm going to use it for divination, and I'll tell you
how it
works out.
Give me results.
I will.
I'm hoping for results. I want people to give me results.
I will. I'll make sure that you've got some results so that when you do Disruption Generator V2, which is what are you going to call it?
Probably V2.
The reassemblinator.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to using this.
And the hardcover. I don't...
Oh shit! Let's talk about the hardcover.
Yeah.
Let's just... We're going to need to make some space. This thing is ginormous.
Yeah, the gigantic 2.5 times the size hardcover.
I'm going to try to describe this for the podcast. So it's big. It's folio sized, right?
Yeah. It's about the size of like office paper.
Yeah, it's huge. And the pages are gigantic. And you've got these additional elements. There's more stuff happening in here.
Yeah, I tried to do a little bit more design, give like each page basically like almost like sigil work for every component.
Eating. Creep.
And sometimes I made the components a little, or like the extra things fit the component.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My favorite, the line work is, my favorite one is, this one's subtle. It's 2 lines that become one for filter.
Yeah.
Droppings is my favorite one.
What number is droppings? I'll look.
I can't remember. There it was. Probably should have a table of contents in there.
This is a table of contents. Droppings.
Number 70.
All right, we're going to number 70. This is gorgeous. This is so amazing. Are you going to get it? Is there anything you would change about this printing? Like,
the only thing I would love is thicker paper.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because there's so much black on the...
Yeah, the black kind of made the page a little wonky.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you notice, the line is just a person that looks like they're...
It looks like it's somebody leaving droppings.
Yep.
To push out that which is no longer needed. The breadcrumb trail of waste and effluence. Yep, those are droppings.
Yep, those are actually cat turds.
You just...
drawn out of a litter box.
Some morning, you're like, oh my god, that's my word?
Yeah, I just looked right in the litter box. Like, those were actually the cat turds for the day.
Wow, those are... They are oracular turds.
Yep.
This means something.
Mm-hmm. Had to pick them out of there. It's like reading tea leaves.
Yeah. Wow. This is great. I think if you got a little bit thicker paper, this would be amazing. But you probably can't do that through Amazon, huh?
No. This one I actually had to do this through Lulu.
Oh.
Because Amazon doesn't do hardcover.
Oh. So then what's your next step here?
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, this thing's pretty well wrapped up, really.
Yeah?
Yeah. Once the pre-sale for the hardcover ends at the end of July, and then the hardcover's going out of print forever.
Really?
Really.
So it's just a one-off?
Just a one-off. So whoever buys it between now and the end of July will be the only people that own the hardcovers. Ever.
Wow.
And I have sold 3.
Okay, well then I'll put, there's a link in the show notes, listeners.
Yep.
There's a link in the show notes.
Yep. It's 50 or until the day comes.
Okay. Wow, it's gorgeous. It's huge. And
yeah, it's like an entire package.
Really
if you
is.
get it, you get a personalized reading with a card deck that Alex printed. His first off. It wasn't the complete deck. It was the first 80. So I'm using that to do a reading, and then I handwrite a personalized reading for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's up to absurdities.
Yeah, that's about
80.
where it ends.
Oh, we've got Alpha and Tau.
Yep, instead of lines, I use letters.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is great. Man, this is just amazing.
You guys are good to keep drinking, but I am going to close the register, so do you want anything?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Cool. Can I get a coffee, a black coffee?
Yeah.
Just plain black coffee.
Cool. We're here.
Sure.
Oh, I'll take one too then. Yeah.
I'll stay up a little late tonight. That's all right. I don't really sleep that much anyways.
Yeah, no shit. You probably have like 10 pages to draw tonight.
I'm taking a break right now. I'm on a break right now. I've been working solidly for 4 years.
Your level of output is really incredible. Yeah, I guess. All right. So what did we not talk about? Hold on. We're doing good on time. So what other things should we discuss?
Well, let's see. We've kind of talked about my other books. You read Coyote, right?
Yeah.
What other ones did you get a chance to read?
I know I flipped through a couple, or I paged through a couple of them, but Coyote was the one that really, really caught my attention. Yeah. And I had meant to read more of them this week, but...
Yeah. Well, and the other problem is that the PDFs, like, they're really meant to be read on paper. Like, all of them are designed to be read on paper.
And that's the problem I have, too. Like, I hate reading PDFs.
I do, too. I
do it when I have to.
Yeah.
But when it's, like, art stuff...
Oh, yeah.
Although I will say, I read the entire run of Hellblazer on my computer screen.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to really track all that down.
I have it.
Yeah.
If you want it. It's pretty good. Okay. I'll cut that out of the episode. But yeah, it's really hard to read a lot of stuff on the computer screen.
Yeah. 1.5, so you get one. You get a half one for free.
Oh,
cool. I'll take the half.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's that, and there's your card.
Thank you.
I just need your signature.
All right.
I like these mugs.
Right, they're the diner mugs are the best.
They are.
Awesome. Thanks
Thanks.
you so much. Let me know if you guys need anything.
Thank you. Ooh, it's got a good flavor to it, too.
It smells amazing.
Yeah. That's not just plain old black coffee. It's got like a berry flavor to it.
Well, coffee is berry.
It is?
Hell yeah, it is.
I thought it was a bean.
Well, the bean's on the inside of the berry.
Oh. I should probably read up more on horticulture.
The whole graphic novel in coffee. Oh shit, there probably is
one. There probably is one. There's graphic novels on everything.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the weirdest thing about the American market of comics is that comics are all superheroes. You go to Japan, they have comics about everything. They have baseball comics. They have wrestling comics.
Well, I mean... But, to be fair to the American market, it's just that 99% of the comics are about superheroes.
Yeah.
There's still, there's history comics, there's Classics Illustrated, there's, what about, History of the World?
Yeah, true.
There's oops, I was just totally, I'm just going to smack the microphone a little bit.
Just
But there's a market for comics that aren't about superheroes. It's just incredibly tiny.
Yeah, and I blame that on the Comics Code Authority from back in the 1950s.
Censorship is never a good idea.
It isn't. Like, that's the reason why, like, Europe and Japan, their comic markets are so wide-reaching. It's because they've had 100 years to make comics about everything. We've had 50.
Yeah. Well, less, because we were making comics and the Comics Code Authority...
Yeah, just destroyed it.
Yeah. They really did. That's a really good...
It's why Mad Magazine became a magazine instead of a comic book. You started out as a comic, and they became a magazine to go around the Comic Code Authority.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, because they had a lot of really raunchy stuff in their magazines.
Oh, they did. They've gotten really...
Have they...
They've toned down over the years.
Well, I mean, Playboy apparently doesn't have naked ladies in it anymore either.
I think they went back because their sales tanked.
Which is so ridiculous. Like,
well, yeah, of course your sales are going to tank if you cut out the one thing that everybody's there for.
Yeah, but I mean, who needs to go to Playboy to get naked ladies?
Oh yeah, Google. You can Google naked lady.
It must be like the majority of their audience is like baby boomers.
Yeah,
who don't know how to Google naked lady.
Well, I mean, I think, like, especially for people our age, I think all of our parents or like all of our dads had Playboy subscriptions that they hid.
Yeah, mine might have, but I
found it.
Never found it.
Yeah, I found my dad's.
Yeah,
it's like tucked under the bed.
So, other Erik with a C.
Mm-hmm. The lesser Erik.
Well, I mean, you're sitting on a lower bench.
It's true. It's true.
Where can the listeners find you on the internet?
I am on outletpress.com. The Disruption Generator can be found on disruptiongenerator.com.
Okay, that's super confusing. I don't know how anybody's ever going to find that.
I know, right? I have Outlet Press on Instagram.
Okay.
And that's about it. My Facebook profile is still technically private, but I basically take any friend requests I'm sent.
Okay.
Unless you're a Russian bot.
All right, so outletpress.com, disruptiongenerator.com, Outlet Press on Instagram. All right.
And then I'm on Amazon. All my books are available through Amazon.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is awesome. The Disruption Generator looks incredible, and I'm really looking forward to playing with it more and figuring out how to dodge that fucking crater.
There are worse ones. There's a guillotine in there, too.
Well, I'm sure that there are worse ones, but I got the crater.
Yeah, every oracle needs to have negative things.
Yeah, but...
everything can't be positive.
That's a good point. And part of it is just sort of figuring out what the crater is talking about. Maybe there's something that I haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, or maybe it's your chair.
Maybe it is my chair. That fucking chair. Well, death to the orange chair.
Hey there, Arnemancers. This is Alex from the Alex Cast, and I want to tell you that I have a brand new book out called The Theravada Machine and Other Stories. It is available on Amazon.com, so if you go to Amazon and search for Alex Bollen, Alex with 2 X's, or you can go to alexbollen.com, ALEXXBOLLEN, or you can pop over to the Alex Cast and listen to Erik and I talk about it, which happened on the last episode. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Arnemancy Podcast. You can find me online at arnemancy.com, where you can schedule a tarot reading or peruse the Arnemancy blog. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher. If you like this podcast, support it for just $1 a month through Patreon at patreon.com/Arnemancy.